The landscape of modern professional basketball stands on the precipice of an unprecedented cultural milestone. As LeBron James approaches what will be a historic 24th season in the National Basketball Association, the sports world is experiencing a profound shift in how we document, consume, and immortalize athletic greatness. The headline circulating through every sports network, digital platform, and locker room across the globe captures the absolute essence of this moment. LeBron James wants his 24th season to be a movie, structured and captured in the same cinematic, definitive style as the legendary documentary series, The Last Dance. This revelation explains the sudden operational delays, the meticulous media negotiations, and the intense behind-the-scenes engineering that have characterized the Los Angeles Lakers camp over the recent months. The sheer scale of what is being planned here goes entirely beyond standard sports journalism or the typical day-to-day coverage we see from networks like ESPN or TNT. We are talking about the construction of a living, breathing historical archive, a multi-part documentary ecosystem designed to capture the final act of the most scrutinized, heavily debated, and statistically dominant career in the history of basketball. When you look at why these announcements and behind-the-scenes preparations are taking so long, you begin to realize that coordinating a production of this magnitude while simultaneously preparing a 41-year-old athlete for the grueling 82-game regular season is an administrative and creative nightmare. Producers, camera crews, directors, and corporate executives from major streaming giants have been quietly embedded within the inner circle of the James enterprise. They are working around the clock to secure unprecedented access to locker rooms, private training facilities, team flights, and personal residences. The goal is to replicate, and perhaps even exceed, the cultural gravity that Michael Jordan and the 1997 to 1998 Chicago Bulls achieved when they allowed camera crews to film their final championship run. But unlike the 1998 Bulls, where the footage was locked away in a vault for over 2 decades before finally seeing the light of day in 2020, the LeBron James camp is looking to construct something that bridges the gap between real-time narrative building and historical preservation. They are building a monument in motion. The basketball community has been left wondering what this means for the immediate future of the Los Angeles Lakers franchise and the broader competitive balance of the NBA. By signaling that season 24 is being approached as a cinematic masterpiece, LeBron James is sending a definitive message to the world. The end is not just near. It is actively being scripted. Every single game, every road trip, every high-stakes playoff battle, and every quiet moment of physical rehabilitation will serve as a scene in this grand production. The narrative weight this places on the Lakers organization is staggering. Front office executives are no longer just managing a basketball roster. They are serving as executive producers for the final chapter of a generational legacy. Head coaches and teammates are no longer just executing a playbook. They are co-stars in a narrative that will be analyzed by basketball fans for the next 50 years. This brings us to the profound psychological and competitive implications of this decision. Throughout his career, LeBron James has been a master of narrative control. From the moment he appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a high school junior labeled The Chosen One, to the seismic shockwaves of the decision in 2010, and his triumphant return to Cleveland in 2014, James has always understood that greatness in the modern era requires more than just statistical dominance on the hardwood. It requires a mythos. By aligning his 24th season with the temple of The Last Dance, he is deliberately positioning himself in direct dialogue with the shadow of Michael Jordan. It is a bold, high-stakes declaration that he views his final act as equal to, if not greater than, the historic finale of the Chicago Bulls dynasty. The delays, the secrecy, and the immense logistical buildup are all a direct result of ensuring that this production leaves absolutely no room for error. The world is watching, the cameras are rolling, and the stage is set for the most cinematographically ambitious season in sport history. To truly understand the gravity of LeBron James demanding that his 24th NBA season be treated like a cinematic epic akin to The Last Dance, we must first dissect the meticulous structural evolution of his entire career. LeBron James has never merely been a basketball player. He has operated as a singular media empire, a cultural institution, an absolute pioneer in athlete empowerment and narrative ownership. When we look back at the late 1990s, Michael Jordan's Last Dance was largely an accidental masterpiece of foresight. The NBA and the Chicago Bulls leadership agreed to allow an entertainment crew to follow the team because there was an underlying, unspoken realization that an era was ending. The tension between general manager Jerry Krause, head coach Phil Jackson, and the players created a volatile, pressure cooker environment that was naturally dramatic. Jordan didn't control the cameras to build a brand in real time. Rather, the cameras captured the raw, unvarnished friction of a dying empire. LeBron James is approaching his grand finale from a completely opposite direction. This is calculated, highly sophisticated architectural engineering. The reason the preparations are taking so incredibly long is that the modern media landscape requires a level of syndication, legal clearance, and technological integration that didn't exist in 1998. LeBron's production company, Springer Entertainment, alongside major capital partners and global streaming platforms, is establishing an infrastructure that allows for immediate, high-definition storytelling. They are navigating the incredibly complex legal waters of NBA broadcasting rights, player union agreements, and private venue permissions. Every single player who steps onto the court with or against LeBron James this season essentially becomes part of a broader intellectual property. The league office is heavily involved because a documentary of this scale serves as a monumental marketing vehicle for the global reach of the NBA itself. Furthermore, we must analyze the physical and biological anomaly that makes a 24th season even possible, let alone worthy of a documentary. In the entire history of professional basketball, the number of players who have even reached the 20th season can be counted on one hand, and almost all of them were reduced to ceremonial roles, playing limited minutes off the bench, their bodies broken down by the relentless toll of professional sports. Vince Carter, Robert Parrish, Kevin Willis, and Kevin Garnett were shadows of their former selves by the time their careers concluded. LeBron James, conversely, enters this phase of his journey, continuing to perform at an all-NBA level, defying the traditional laws of human aging and athletic decline. He is spending millions of dollars annually on physiological maintenance, cryotherapy, hyperbaric chambers, biometrics, and world-class personal chefs. The documentary isn't just about basketball strategy. It is a scientific chronicle of an athlete who successfully waged war against Father Time. The footage will showcase the grueling, agonizing realities of maintaining a world-class physique at an age where most of his contemporaries have been retired for nearly a decade. This brings a fascinating dynamic to his teammates, most notably the historic integration of his son, Bronny James. The narrative arc of a legendary father sharing the professional stage with his son provides a cinematic storyline that even the best Hollywood writers could never adequately script. It introduces an intense emotional core to the documentary that completely differentiates it from The Last Dance. Jordan's narrative was defined by isolation, combativeness, and uncompromising, almost tyrannical demand for perfection from his peers. LeBron's 24th season movie will likely lean into themes of legacy, family, succession, and mentorship. The cameras will capture the deeply intimate, complex dynamics of father guiding a son through the absolute crucible of intense media scrutiny and professional basketball pressure. This relationship adds a layer of vulnerability to LeBron's public persona that we have rarely seen throughout his decades in the spotlight. We also cannot overlook the competitive pressure the cinematic approach places on the Los Angeles Lakers roster. When an entire season is branded as a movie, every single loss becomes a narrative crisis, and every victory is magnified tenfold. Teammates like Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, and the rest of the supporting cast are operating under a literal microscope. Every mistake they make on the floor, every misassignment, and every signs of frustration on the bench will be captured by high-fidelity cameras and eventually broadcast to hundreds of millions of people. It requires an immense amount of mental fortitude to play basketball under the weight of an active historical documentary. In 1998, players like Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman frequently clashed with the presence of media, and it created deep internal fractures within the Bulls organization. The Lakers' management must now navigate the delicate balance between winning basketball games in the present day and facilitating an ongoing media production that documents their every move. Statistically, the narrative stakes could not possibly be higher. LeBron James has already surpassed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to become the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. He has accumulated 4 championship rings, for finals MVPs, for regular season MVPs, and has shattered virtually every longevity record in existence. What is left to achieve? Why push for a 24th season to be captured with such cinematic grandeur? The answer lies within the ongoing, never-ending debate surrounding the greatest of all time. LeBron James is acutely aware that the definitive argument in favor of Michael Jordan has always been a flawless 6-for-6 finals record and the mythic aura established by The Last Dance documentary. By creating his own definitive visual masterpiece, LeBron is attempting to rewrite the cultural calculus of the GOAT debate. He is showing the world the sheer volume, the unparalleled sustainability, and the staggering weight of a 24-year reign at the absolute top of the mountain. It is a visual thesis statement designed to close the case in the court of public opinion. The strategic delays we are witnessing are also tied directly to distribution rights and platform bidding wars. The intellectual property of LeBron James' final years is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Streaming networks are fully aware that a comprehensive, behind-the-scenes look at this historic season will generate historic viewership numbers, rivaling the cultural monoculture achieved during the pandemic-era release of Jordan's documentary. The negotiations involve complex revenue-sharing models, international distribution rights, and long-term merchandising tie-ins. The reason it is taking so long is that the business executives are crafting a blueprint that will set the standard for how sports icons monetize their legacies moving forward. This is the blueprint for the modern athlete mogul. As the lights begin to dim on this epic analytical breakdown, we must prepare ourselves for the sheer magnitude of what this 24th season will deliver to the sports world. This is no longer just about wins, losses, playoff seedings, or individual accolades. We are witnessing the ultimate synthesis of sports, entertainment, and historical preservation. LeBron James is orchestrating an exit strategy that matches the unprecedented grandiosity of his entrance into the consciousness of the global public. The strategic delays, the immense operational friction, and the relentless behind-the-scenes negotiations are all completely justified when you realize that they are building a monument meant to stand the test of time. Season 24 will be an absolute cultural spectacle, a cinematic journey that forces us to re-examine everything we thought we knew about the outer limits of human athletic longevity and narrative control. When the final buzzer sounds on this historic season, and the ultimate documentary is eventually released to the public, it will serve as a definitive exclamation point on a career that changed the world of sports forever. Whether you view LeBron James as the undisputed greatest of all time, or you place him just behind the icons of the past, you cannot deny the absolute brilliance of his vision. He has successfully transformed the final chapters of his athletic life into a global cinematic event. The cameras will continue to roll, the pressure will continue to mount, and the story will continue to unfold in front of our very eyes. We are all living through history, watching a real-time masterpiece take shape on the hardwood and the silver screen alike. The movie is officially in production, and the world will be watching every single frame.